Hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Natural News, bringing you the stories that matter. Today we're going to explore a topic that's both fascinating and deeply concerning. The sudden surge in transgender identification among teenage girls. We'll be taking a closer look at this topic with the help of the book Irreversible, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters by Abigail Shrier. Let's start by painting a picture of what teenage girlhood used to look like for those of us born before 1990. Remember those days? Hanging out at the mall, giggling with friends, obsessing over boys, and navigating the ups and downs of first crushes and heartbreaks. It was a time of in-person interactions, of shared experiences and emotions that bonded us together. But today, adolescence is a different landscape altogether. The digital age has transformed the way girls connect with each other. Social media, smartphones, and the internet have replaced face-to-face conversations and the communal nature of adolescent experiences. While this shift has brought about greater tolerance and acceptance in some areas, it has also led to unprecedented levels of loneliness and isolation among teenagers. Studies show that today's teens spend less time in person with friends, and they report greater loneliness than any generation on record. This isolation has contributed to a mental health crisis, with record levels of anxiety and depression, particularly among teenage girls. The numbers are staggering. Between 2009 and 2017, the number of high schoolers who contemplated suicide increased by 25%, and the number of teens diagnosed with clinical depression grew by 37%. So, what's behind this alarming trend? The rise of social media is a major factor. The constant exposure to carefully curated images of seemingly perfect lives has fueled feelings of inadequacy and obsession over perceived flaws. The pressure to conform to unrealistic beauty standards, amplified by social media, has taken a toll on girls' mental health. Now, let's delve into the heart of the matter. Across the Western world, there was a dramatic increase in the number of adolescents, particularly girls, seeking gender treatments. One researcher, Dr. Littman, hypothesized that this atypical increase in the number of girls with gender dysphoria might be a form of peer contagion, which she termed rapid onset gender dysphoria. Her research strongly suggested that social media immersion and peer influence played a significant role in the sudden adoption of transgender identities. On social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram, transgender influencers have surged in popularity. These charismatic figures offer advice, encouragement, and personal stories that resonate with confused and vulnerable teens. They promote the idea that being transgender is an innate, immutable identity, and they often downplay the risks associated with medical transition. These influencers will highlight the supposedly positive changes they experience when taking gender treatments, and claim that so-called gender-affirming care is the solution to a wide range of problems affecting teens today, from social anxiety to depression, and they often encourage teens to start hormones without fully understanding the long-term implications. However, the reality is more complex. The medical interventions they advocate, such as puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, come with significant risks and irreversible consequences. Puberty blockers, for example, can disrupt normal bone density development and potentially affect brain development. And while testosterone can provide a sense of euphoria and relief, it also carries long-term health risks, including cardiovascular disease and infertility. The rise in transgender identification is also influenced by the emergence of gender ideology, especially in education. In schools across the country, students are being taught that biological sex and gender are separate entities, and that gender is a spectrum. Both these claims are not grounded in scientific evidence. Kindergarteners are introduced to concepts which present a simplistic view of gender identity. Middle schoolers are encouraged to imagine themselves as a different gender, and high schoolers are exposed to explicit and radical curricula that promote a wide array of sexual and gender identities. This education has a profound impact on adolescents, normalizing gender confusion and encouraging them to focus on their gender identity as a defining aspect of their lives. It also fosters an us versus them mentality, pitting those who embrace gender diversity against those who don't. The field of mental health has also been influenced by gender ideology. The prevailing standard of so-called affirmative care requires therapists to accept and affirm their patients' self-diagnosis of gender dysphoria, often without exploring other potential underlying issues. This approach can be problematic, as it may prevent therapists from providing the objective guidance and critical evaluation that adolescents need. Critics argue that gender dysphoria is a complex condition that requires a nuanced understanding and individualized treatment. They advocate for a more cautious approach, emphasizing the importance of thorough assessment and the exploration of alternative explanations for the distress that gender dysphoric individuals experience. Despite the pressure to conform to the affirmative model, some professionals have dared to speak out against it. These dissidents, including therapists, sexologists, and psychiatrists, argue that the current approach to gender dysphoria is flawed and potentially harmful. They believe that the rise in transgender identification among adolescent girls is a social contagion fueled by peer influence, social media, and a lack of critical thinking. The journey of medical transition is fraught with challenges and risks, from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones to top and bottom surgeries. The path is fraught with uncertainty and potential for regret. The stories of detransitioners highlight the emotional and physical toll that transitioning can take, and the importance of careful consideration and informed decision-making. They are also a sobering reminder of the potential for regret and the need for a more balanced approach to gender dysphoria. These young women, who once identified as transgender, have chosen to return to their birth sex, often facing stigma and disbelief from the very community that once embraced them. The issue of transgender identification among teenage girls is a complex and sensitive topic. In the end, the most important thing for parents is to listen to your children, to support them, and to guide them with love and wisdom. The path to adulthood is fraught with challenges, but with the right support, our girls can navigate it with confidence and grace. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you have thoughts or experiences to share, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Natural News. Take care and stay curious. This has been a Books Alive video from Natural News on the book Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters by Abigail Shrier. Visit brighteon.com for more fascinating videos like this one, and visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.